In today's video, I'm giving you a full guide on how you can build a full competitive Ork army list in 10th and show you how exactly you can implement every single one of Ork's strengths and use them to your best ability to create the most competitive list possible to crush and war as many times as you need throughout the games you play. Now, like my previous video where I was talking about Death Guard competitive lists, if you are kind of more of a casual player, I wouldn't recommend watching this video because ultimately it's going to ruin your casual experience just going fully competitive. But if you ultimately want the most wins, the most successes, and you're going to more of a tournament competitive-based scene, this video is going to be for you. I was going to say I love Orks. I have a 2,000 point Ork army. I've been playing 30, 40 plus games in 10th with them. I love them. They're incredible, and I think I've really got the idea nailed down to how to build a proper competitive Ork list and what everything matters truly. So, I don't want to steal more of your time. Let's just jump straight into it. How exactly you can build a full competitive Ork list inside of 40k 10th edition. Now, what are we looking for in a competitive list when it comes to playing with Orks? Now, Orks are a bit different to Death Guard, like I talked about in the last video. You see, Death Guard are more of an elite, we will kill you with our Man Reaper army, but this is more of a death by 1,000 cuts, but more like death by 1,000 Gretchen bites. It's kind of like, not really just like that little subtle, but it's still less about how much ultimate damage you put out, and more about how many units are attacking in the first place. So, Orks focus very heavily on melee, but kind of more death by 1,000 cuts melee. And are going to want as many elite bodies on the field as possible per time. So you're not looking just for, I know the Ork meme is like, 2,000 Ork boys on the board, or 200 Ork boys, and you can do that. You can run a fully horde-based list. That can work. But ultimately, in the current scene of competitive Orks, you want as many elite bodies on the table. So yes, it might not be 200, but it's still getting up into like the 50s, 60s, to 70s in terms of how many Ork models you're taking, based on a competitive list, because you want as many elite bodies on your army, because that's what's going to be really prioritizing from the war, and that's what's going to be giving you the most beneficial kind of turn when you push into the war. Speaking of the war, you're also going to want to prioritize movement, and less about the characters moving, but more about how you're transporting them. So I think Orks, next to things like Leagues of Votann, have probably one of the best dedicated transports to the truck, which literally heals itself as it goes on, and is a super cheap option, which is 65 points, to dedicatedly transport 12 Ork units, which is phenomenal, because Orks want fast movement, because they want to war as soon as possible, because the sooner you war, the sooner you kill more units, the sooner you can start playing the long game in terms of point scoring. So, getting that round 2, maybe even a stretch of round 3 war off is kind of crucial to the actual Orks having a massive advantage in the end. And you're going to want to be taking things like this. But, considering the recent points decrease of the Battle Wagon has also become a bit of an option for transport. So, when the list I'm going to be talking about later in the video, I am not going to mention the Battle Wagon, but it is a viable option, and I'll tell you why a bit later when I'm actually doing it. Now, what are the big winners for Orks? Who are like these amazing guys? Who are the people that you're going to be seeing in most Ork lists, and are going to want to be taking, guaranteed, if going to a competitive scene? First one is going to be the Knobs. Knobs are, I don't even know how to say it. If you play Orks, you know what I'm talking about. Knobs are beautiful. They are the just epitome of damage when it comes to Orks. They give the most output in terms of consistent elite-based damage in any Ork model. I've gone up against Chaos Knights and absolutely wiped the heck out of a Knight of Dominant with one Knob War turn with 10 man with War Boss. This combo is phenomenal. Knobs by themselves, I should have actually put plus War Boss here. I think Knobs are okay by themselves. They can do okay by themselves, but plus War Boss makes it phenomenal, makes it amazing, and it creates this dynamic duo that's called the Scalpel unit for a reason. It can tear through anything and really benefit from the idea of calling the war and just being insane amounts of damage dealing. So they're going to be what your army's going to consist of in terms of elite bodies in a competitive scene. So you are going to want to look into optimizing as much as you can through the Knobs. It's not based around the Knobs. I don't really believe there really is any Ork list that is based around one character, except for maybe like Gazgol. Orks don't really play that way. Some armies do. I think Death Guard play into a little bit. Same with Tau in terms of playing through the Crisis suits. But Orks don't really play into one specific unit. They don't really they kind of just play throughout the game. So Knobs are still centricated, but they're not as important as like Crisis suits in Tau or Death Shroud Terminators in Death Guard. Now, the next one's going to be Flash Kids and Captain Badrock. If you have ever played against Flash Kids, or if you've ever played with Flash Kids, you know how deadly they can be, especially when they get their ammo run, lethal hits off in one phase. Oh, we love to see it. These guys are what's going to be doing your best shooting. These guys literally are phenomenal. When you take 10, if you don't know about the Flash Kit Captain Badrock combo, you're new to Warhammer, you've never versed Orks before, you don't play Orks, I'll explain it to you right now. Flash Kits by themselves get sustain hits and heavy, and already have an Ork shooting 5, meaning they're going to be hitting on 4s with sustain hits. Now, sustain hits is naturally beautiful. Strength 6, I think it's AP -1 and flat damage 2. Now that seems pretty basic, but when you consider the rules that they come with in terms of if you target the closest unit, they actually do get you get 4 attacks instead of 3, and you combine this with the fact you're taking 10, it's pretty good, but that's not where it goes. You see, what really makes them special is Captain Badrock, who gives them a full hit reroll. And that's what makes them so good. Suddenly, you're getting 40 shots with a full hit reroll, and actually lethal hits when you take the ammo run, and get sustain hits, which means you're re-rolling for sustain hits, you're fishing for sustain hits, which leaves you with almost, sometimes I even roll 37 hits straight forward, and it can absolutely wipe anything you want it to. So if there's an annoying unit in your army you want to wipe, Flash Kits is what's going to be prioritized. These guys are going to be your main shooting output. It's going to be placed in the center battlefield, just tearing through anything, and it's what's going to actually deal with a couple of stuff. Now, they are very expensive, but they are so worth it when you take them. So the Flash Kit, 10-man Flash Kits, and Captain Badrock combo will be in every Ork competitive list, non-negotiable. Knobs may be negotiable in a sliced chance. Flash Kits, Captain Badrock, never, ever will they be negotiable. They're fantastic shooting output, always will be amazing, incredibly powerful. You need them. Basically, you need them. They're when you build an Ork list, just automatically put Flash Kits and Captain Badrock in if you think you're competitive. These guys are amazing. You need them. And the last one is going to be Gretchen. Now, Gretchen, in my opinion, are the best cheap scoring unit in the game. They offer OC2 for a 30 or 45 point 11-man body that provide free CP when on a objective marker on 4 up. Meaning you can farm CP with these guys on objective markers and have 2 OC. Meaning you're going to be looking at a 22 OC point for the Gretchen. And it's 11-man. Meaning you can spend 35 or 45, I'm pretty sure it's 35 points, somewhere between 30 and 40 points, for 2 OC, 22 OC point, farming OC. These guys are incredibly cheap, you can take, amazing, included in any list. I'm not saying they're as phenomenal as the Flash Kits, you can go without Gretchen, but they're what's going to be giving you that chance to maybe even take fixed with that nice CP generation, and what's going to be giving you that strong OC hold point. I personally, in my own list, run a 22-man with Zogro Wurtsnager just for the factor of I think they're amazing, and farming them is incredible. So that's going to be Orks in a whole. Overall, they're going to be looking at getting as many elite bodies on the field as possible, and prioritizing movement, so when the war phase happens, which is their main army rule, which gives them a bunch of melee buffs, it goes ham, and they can do as much damage as possible to start playing the long game of outscoring their opponent. So now, I'm going to show you my practice list, which is not my actual list, but I'm going to show you a fully based competitive list you could take into any game, and pretty much do very well with it, but I'm also going to explain to you why I don't believe that's the best way to play Orks in the competitive scene. In a highly competitive scene, different story, but in the competitive scene, maybe a little bit different. So, let's jump straight into it. Now, this is my theory list. This is a list that I devised simply off the factor of, okay, what is going to perform best in tournaments? What have I seen perform best? What have I had in my list that's performed really well? And how are we going to prioritize that in terms of Ork bodies? Now, I'm going to go through every single one of them and explain each individual unit's kind of key aspect so you get the full grasp of this list. First one is going to be the 2 Warboss combo. Now, Warboss is amazing. Warboss on knobs, even better. Taking 2 of these guys makes these 2 scalpel units phenomenal. I'm not giving them any enhancements because I believe it's too much of a point investment already. It's 210 points for a regular knob squad, so we're getting almost around that 600 point mark with both of the war bosses and both of the knob squads. So I want to keep this as cheap as possible. But taking the 2 war bosses along with the 2 knobs brings in 2 amazing scalpel units into the army. It creates a phenomenal based melee output, and it gets a lot of elite bodies on the field. That's already 22 elite bodies on the field just there, and they're all doing a phenomenal amount of damage, running with power claws, getting a -1 to hit, and a -1 to wound when attacks are put on them. I mean, they're going to be quite a tough unit to kill, and they're also getting a nice hitting on 2s, which is just phenomenal in the war phase when everyone gets the the +1 to attack, +1 to strength, makes them even better. With natural sustained hits with the get stuck in rule, it's phenomenal. Amazing output unit. Highly would get Warboss both on the Nob squads. It's phenomenal. Next one's going to be Mozrog's Scraper. I've talked about him before on this channel. Mozzie is just amazing. His output's incredible. He's the vehicle monster hunter of the Squighog boys. Full stop. He's phenomenal. He's incredible. He's an amazing just like kind of warlord option. Unless you're versing Imperial Knights, I highly recommend when you're versing Imperial Knights. I talked about this in my Knights video. You need to prioritize a warlord, but honestly, just cool warlord. He's a pretty nice centerpiece. He offers a bunch of damage. Amazing Titanic hunter. So if you've got like really hard hitting Titanic units, he's good for like fleshing out those. And he's just an amazing monster vehicle hunter, or just a great damage output in whole. He's only 165 points, I think, or 185 points, I think. So he's a great option, great viable. He just has an amazing damage output, and he's pretty much a guaranteed any list. He's an awesome. He's amazing. He's just I don't want to say anymore. He's amazing. Mozrog is awesome. Damage output incredible, and abilities just give so much more. Next one's going to be Captain Badrock. I talked about this before. He gives the full hit rerolls to the flash kits, which makes them unstoppable and an amazing force. Captain Badrock is incredible. You need to have him if you're taking flash kits. You will never take flash kits without Badrock. You'll never take Badrock without flash kits. It's just amazing combo. He gives the flash kits reroll hit rolls, which just brings out a fantastic Overwatch, and probably like one of the best Overwatches in the game, considering you're getting sustained hits and a full hit reroll. And he just gives this amazing threat to any unit when plus the lethal hits. You don't even need the lethal hits, but he's just amazing. Captain Badrock, amazing. Next one's going to be Nob on Smash Squig with Headwhoppers Killchopper. Now, this is another amazing monster and vehicle hunter, because if you didn't know, the Snakebite, which is what like all the kind of like the tribal orcs tribe is called, or clan is called, they all focus on hunting monsters and vehicles. So a lot of their things have anti-vehicle 4-up, anti-monster 4-up. But this guy does it even better. Him running with the Squighog boys makes the Squighog boys -1 to hit, meaning they're going to be hitting on 2s instead of 3s, which is already phenomenal, making more like this 6-man elite body incredible. Plus, him going on the Squighogs doesn't require any form of transportation like the trucks or the battle wagon, meaning they can just dash up the board as fast as possible with like an ability that allows them to not be modified to movement, so they can just dash up the board as fast as possible and just go ham. But the reason you put Headwhoppers Killchopper on him, if you don't know the combo, is because in the war phase, he gets anti-vehicle 3-up and anti-vehicle 4-up, and Headwhoppers Killchopper gives the melee weapon of the characters bearing weapons devastating wounds ability, meaning you're going to be hitting dev wounds on 3s and 4s and going up against monsters. So hunting down dreadnoughts, hunting down crisis battlesuits, hunting down even sometimes knights to a certain extent, hunting down wraith knights, hunting down just like gunships. It's phenomenal. They do it incredibly, and I would highly recommend you put him on your list. He offers a unit that doesn't need transportation to be useful. He offers a unit that can just push forward and go ham. So Nob on Smash Squig with Squighog boys is fun. Now I'm going to go into my regular data sheets. I've talked about I forgot a character put in here. I'm also taking Beast Boss, because Beast Boss will attach the Beast Snagger boys, but I'll talk about them later when I talk about Beast Boss. Now, for the Nobs, talked about them already. They're really, really good. Taking 2 10-man gives you the Scalpel unit. It's phenomenal. It gives so much damage. More elite bodies on the field. Awesome. The Beast Snagger boys are going to be your more distraction-based unit, along with the Beast Boss, who I forgot to include on the characters. They're going to allow for some decent amount of Monster Vehicle Hunter, along with a 4-up Filament Paint. There's what's going to give you cheaper-ish bodies on the field, and allow for an on-foot model, so I'm not going to be taking him to transport, he's going to be on foot. Just allow to push up, kind of be more of a distraction, but also do a bunch of damage, especially when you get that dev wounds on charge, and Beast Boss having the anti-vehicle 4-up and anti-vehicle 2-up, along with Beast Snagger boys allowing a full hit reroll when going up against vehicles and monsters. It's just insane. A nice fleshy out unit, but more of a distraction to kind of divert the energy away from the main Scalpel units and flash kits and more towards the Beast Snagger boys. Still helpful, still amazing, but less as important and not necessary if you want to take it. And there's going to be the one-man Gretchen squad, or actually two-man Gretchen squad, because simply so you can spread out, score more VP. I've talked about them before. Really good, really just generally an effective unit, but ultimately you could take 3 if you ultimately wanted to. But I think the two-man squad, put one squad, it's two-man squad. Having a two-man squad is very effective because you can farm CP. It allows you to spread out more, put less pressure on objective markers because it's a 22 OC point, which can be a knight in OC, which is awesome. And just generally gives you a cheap way to move around the field and score objectives. And bit of a throw, one can be kind of a throwaway unit and one could be a main scoring objective unit. Next one's going to be this Quick Hog Boys, like I said. Fast moving, talked about with Noble and Smash Squig. Fast moving unit, doesn't need a transport, can do insane damage. Can deliver the Squig Bomb, which is 2 Squig Bombs actually, which is randomly, whenever you feel like it, you can just throw like any phase. It says any phase. You can just throw 2 Squig Bombs, and on like a 3-up or a 4-up, I think it's like that. It's like D3 mortal wounds, so you can just end up doing 2 D3 mortal wounds to any unit within a 12-inch radius, terrain or nothing. It happens. So it's awesome for this consistent damage. Fast-moving unit can deliver a lot of pain, and is just a phenomenal unit to take. It's a bit expensive recently, so I don't think taking the 6-man might be as important as before. But you're not going to be seeing any more 18-man Squig Hog Boys running around the field. It's going to be just like the 6-man from now. So still phenomenal, still awesome, but not necessary if you were taking. Then it's going to be the 2-man Storm Boy squad. These guys are going to be your secondary scoring units. They can deep strike in, they can full throttle, they can reroll off charge roll if you get an objective marker. Helpful, good scoring unit, simply just kind of like a throwaway to do extra things. And I actually do have 2 written down here. And then it's going to be 3 trucks. Now trucks, the 65-point model, transporting 12 units. They're going to be taking the flash kits, the 2 scalpel units, knobs and war bosses, delivering the fire, delivering the pain. Phenomenal, amazing, probably the 2nd best transport or 3rd best transport in the game, depending on what you see them, but generally an awesome unit nonetheless. But that is going to be my entire Ork list. Now, this list can work more. My list looks nothing like this, and I have actually won a decent amount of games in 10th edition that I've played. I think my ratio is like for every 10 games, like I lose 5, so it's kind of like a half and half. But the point is that you don't need to run this competitive list. There's so many ways to play Orks. That's the reason I love Orks, because there's so many models and even more to come. And with some of the new Big Mech models, like the Big Mech model coming out, it's ultimately giving you so many more choices to play. So you can run Gazgol, you could run Battle Wagons, you could run regular boys, you could run Meganobs. I run Meganobs. You could run what else? You could run Killer Cans if you wanted to. You could run Mech Guns, Big Mecha Shock Attack Gun if you want to go like full Battle Shock. There are so many ways to play Orks. If you're playing competitive, you're playing just competitive and solely want to win, this list, maybe a few tweaks depending on who you're playing with, is going to be your main option. But if you're looking for more of a fun game, and even like a competitive / casual game, like some of the games I play where it's like still competitive, but it's not as like formally operational as a competitive game is, and still has a little bit of casual elements in it, ultimately, you can still run things like the 5-man Big Mech with Mega Armor squads. You can still run Big Mech with Attack Gun, running Death Killer Wartrike, running Big Mech, Big Beast Boss on Squigosaur, along with Mozrog. There's so many options to play Orks that actually in a competitive way, not just this. That's why I love the army. You don't have to follow this. So if you want to see like me go on a full analysis of a couple of Ork lists, I would recommend for different purposes, like having a Dacker list, having a Squig list, having like a fully Horde list. I'm happy to make a video on that. Just let me down in the comments if you want to see it, and I'm happy to continue. But that is going to be all me today. I probably will not be making videos for the next week or so because I am going away. So do not expect any recent videos. Point being, just get ready for a week off of me, and I'll be back ready to make some consistent videos every day for you guys again. But like I said, it's going to be all me today. If you want to see some more Ork videos, leave it down in the comments, leave a like, do all the YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one.